Joining us today is Amber Fallon, a seasoned sales engineer whose career spans from SmartBear Software to shooter detection systems, consistently bridging the gap between complex technical solutions and business value. Known for her ability to transform technical demonstrations into compelling stories, Amber brings a unique combination of technical expertise and relationship building that has made her an invaluable asset across multiple technology sectors. Welcome, Amber.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. I guess let's just jump right in. What moment in your career has taught you the most?
So I think we can learn more from losses than wins, and I have a really good illustration of that. So early on in my career, I had just really stepped into the enterprise sector and a deal fell into our lap. It was trying to keep it vague so you don't give away too much, but a company, a big company that you've all heard of. I can guarantee that. And they were a tiny little sort of sub company, but it looked like a great opportunity to land and expand. Myself and my AE poured our heart and soul into this deal for about 8 months. We were working late nights, early mornings, tons of strategy sessions, market research, building compelling stories, and doing everything we could. We worked really, really, really hard, and I thought we had it in the bag. Then comes decision time, and they went with a competitor. And I was crushed. I was devastated. I poured everything I had into that. And it wasn't until my next one-on-one with my manager at the time, we sat down and I was just lamenting over I poured everything I had into this deal and they went with somebody else and I know we were the right fit. And he turned to me and he said, "Okay, what would you do differently?" And I sat back and said, "Well, nothing." Even if I knew we were going to lose, I still would have given my all to that deal.
Hmm.
And sometimes you can do everything right and still lose, but that shouldn't change how you approach. And even if I walked into that deal knowing that I was going to put 8 months of really, really hard work into it and the outcome would be the same, I wouldn't have changed anything. And that taught me a lot about me. And it taught me a lot about the way that I approach every sales engagement I'm.
That's fantastic. Quite tenacious. Carrying on with that, if you were to poll 3 or 4 colleagues, what are some attributes that they would continuously say about you?
I had a previous manager who referred to me as a relentless force for positivity, and that's something I resonate with a lot. So that tenacious would be another one you'd hear a lot of. She just doesn't quit. She doesn't give up and very team oriented. I am there for my team 100% of the way, always in every way I possibly can be.
That is outstanding. So many people can't say those three things. So it's just great to hear people talking about it. So kudos to you. Really nicely done. Outside of your professional achievements, what passion project or personal interest has taught you skills that make you better at what you do?
Baking. I'm a big baker. And it's a science. You learn that there
Hmm.
are different things that you can do to create different outcomes. It's very specific, but like any other science, once you know those rules, you can bend them to your will and you can kind of learn the different areas you can manipulate to get what you want done. You can start with a basic recipe and then really expand on it, put your own spin and your own twist on it. So I would definitely say baking has taught me a lot about technical aspects of things and the different ways things interact, different levers you can pull to kind of make things move the way you want them to once you understand that the rules in the space.
I bet that makes you a great coworker too.
Yeah, I own company pilots, let me say.
Could you tell us about a mentor that has been impactful for you?
I actually have to go old school with this one and say my mom. She was a veterinarian. She was one of the most hardworking, ambitious, dedicated people I have ever met. And I learned so much from her, both as my mother and I worked for her, as most kids of business owners of one type or another will tell you, learn to do little bits of work here and there. And from an unofficial and official capacity, I did things like helping clean up and refilling water dishes and ordering supplies. And then as I got older, my responsibilities scaled and I helped with basic accounting and billing stuff and helped sometimes with some grooming stuff and other things. And she taught me so much about hard work and about dedication and about what it means to really pour yourself into your work. And I think that the biggest lesson I learned from her is that who you are and what you do are just so inextricably linked. And I'll say there were a lot of sort of unfortunate unfortunately, pet owners in our area that might have had their bills miraculously reduced or paid in baked goods or 6-foot velvet paintings at one point. And that is something that I've taken with me every step of my career.
That is wonderful. So much we can learn from people like that, as especially parents. And it's great that you had that relationship. So, what book or podcast has influenced you?
There are so many really great sales books out there, but the sales engineering books are a smaller niche. You have to call attention to Peter Cohan's Great Demo. It's one of the earlier books and still one of the greats out there. It really breaks down a lot of sales engineering best practices, a lot of strategies. One of the core tenets of a good sales engineer is tell, show, tell. And I first heard about it from Great Demo. And I suggest anybody who is a sales engineer or is looking to be a sales engineer, check that out. You will find your copy highlighted and dog-eared in very short order.
That's fantastic. If you could think of someone that you could spend a day learning from, whether alive or dead, who might that be?
That is such a great question. There are so many people. I immediately want to go like Edgar Allan Poe, one of my all-time favorite authors. I'd love to learn more from him, especially during his time in Boston, which is where I'm located. That would be cool. Oprah Winfrey, she's great at marketing herself, and I'd really like to learn a little bit more about her and her personal brand and her approach to just really outreach. She does such an amazing job at pulling people in and getting her name out there. That's such a great thing I'd really like to be able to take from her. And then there's like Marie Curie. She was such a pilot and an influencer in so many different ways, and she was so ahead of her time. And I'd really like to be able to just pick her brain and figure out how she approached things and how she put herself in danger to really increase our knowledge of science in certain ways.
Fascinating choices. Fascinating choices.
All over the board, though, but I guess that's no.
That's what
But
we love, though.
exactly. And it shows the multiple sides of you because everybody has multiple sides. There's nobody that's just kind of one note. So it's great to be able to show that off. But wrapping this up from a formal questions perspective, what do you see as the future of your industry?
Pre-sales is evolving. Sales is evolving. I think there's a need for salespeople to be more technical and for pre-sales people to be a little bit more sales focused. I've always said that sales engineering isn't just a title. It's also like a slider bar where you can see yourself a little bit more towards the sales side or a little bit more towards the engineering side, and figuring out where you fit is a good part of figuring out what industry you'll be best served in. So I would say that the future of sales engineering really focuses on keying into the technical win and leaning towards building relationships in a way that serves the technical aspect of whatever product you're selling. And you need to understand the industry and you need to be a market leader and knowledgeable in the space that you're in order to provide that kind of consultative approach that I think customers are really looking for going forward.
That's so well said. And Paul will tell you in his sales career that one of his best mentors was a sales engineer. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Absolutely.
yep.
He's now a senior vice president at a satellite communications company. So the future is yours. And I learned a tremendous amount from him.
So before we wrap up, is there anything that you would like people to know about you that we didn't ask, or this is your moment to add in whatever you'd like to add?
Well, I will say that what I'm looking for in my next role is a place where I can be long term. I really want to put down roots and become a subject matter expert and really dive into the product and know it inside and out. So I'm looking for somewhere I can be long term and somewhere I can make a measurable, immediate impact and really start improving things. My philosophy in life is make things better, and I want to be somewhere I can do that.
Boy, I wouldn't want to hire you. That's for sure. Just no, I no, please, absolutely wonderful. Really great to hear your perspective on things. I think any company would be lucky to have you. So we'll put all the ways to contact you into the show notes. So thank you so much for joining us. I really think you've shown why you're an amazing asset to any organization. So thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
And I love your sparkle.
Thank you.
MTMG, guidance that empowers.